Okay, quick little follow-up of the work from today. So, got the door adjusted out some, got the fender adjusted out some. Ordered these stainless bolts. You can get them from MPD or eBay if you search just, I think they're 5/16 stainless fender bolts. But I got all of them but one. This one, you see I've marked. It's a little bit off, can't make that hole. So I've got to burr it out some. But my gap's somewhat decent. My gaps here still have to be trimmed. Gotta finish doing some work here. It's a little bit inset right here. I gotta bring it out. The bottom, I got the clips in, and this bottom I got bent out to where it actually seems to fit better now. The end piece, I have these to use. These little L brackets talked about. But you should just screw these two top pieces into the rocker lip. Put one of these little clip nuts. And then throw one of these bolts in. I'm doing all stainless hardware on these. Actually, I probably need to order some more of those because these bolts are used in a couple of other things, like the trunk hinge. So before I showed that, so the door work, see, I don't even know if this door opens now that I moved the fender. Yeah, it's gonna bind, figures. It was opening fine, but I popped the fender and fixed the gap. There we go. All right, so the door work, you see my tape left over from when I was doing my gaps earlier. So I don't know, people say it's an 1/8 inch gap paint stick for your sides, your underneath. I found that's not enough. I used 2 paint sticks. So I got like a 1/4 inch gap on the bottom. And I don't know if it's because these little tabs get bent in. I don't know if these get hammered flat or something whenever the seal gets put in this channel. But the outside lip of this channel is rubbing, as you can see, a couple of times in adjustment. I mean, it's fixed out now, and it doesn't rub, but I'm not sure if that's how it's supposed to be. But so this is all handled, taken care of. I might have to end up coming back and doing some Bondo work here to level things out for my gaps. But so onto my door. The top here was sitting high. It's fixed. Nothing. 2x4. And a BFH can't fix. Big freaking hammer. Lay that sucker there. Give it a good whack. And you can see where the paint's rubbed away. Well, that's because my genius self didn't account for this little piece that's welded here. The inside support, whatever. That tops off right here. So when I hammered, this piece stayed high. Fixed that with a body hammer. That, by the way, this is a hammer, not a pry. I tried to put the fork end underneath something and pry back on it. The fiberglass handle didn't hold up anyways. So eventually I'll weld up a handle on it, but pop that like so. Gave it a few good whacks. Push that back down. A little bit of Bondo, good as new. So my lines look a whole lot better. My gap's gotta be worked on. I'll probably have to put a welding rod up here. Let's see. Give you an idea. My gap's golden all the way up until you get to there. I'll fix that with a piece of weld rod. I'll weld onto the door right there. I'll fix that later. Down here, same thing. Big hammer. That 4x4 that's right, meow. It's it's about the same length as this. Yeah, between 10 and 12 inches, whatever. I worked, it started getting wide from like here back. I'm out of adjustment on that hinge. I tried to mess with it and adjust it out, it wouldn't go. So it's just out of adjustment completely. So I just worked that 4x all the way down, hammering just little by little. I'd hit it, move, hit, move, and then I'd go back and do it again. And I tried to do that so it wouldn't dent in anywhere on the door. And from what I could tell, it didn't. It just rolled the bottom lip perfectly, except on the end where I got dumb. Took the 4x, and this end, this very tip was still poking out. So I thought, well, maybe I can just, you know, you can see where the corner of it got to, that little polished out spot. So I put the 4x like this, thinking maybe I can just, you know, tag this end in. Well, again, inner support. This piece right here, didn't account for that. The other idea I'd had was to take a cut off and just cut a relief from like here back, and then push it back to close the gap and then stitch weld it back together. I want to try to avoid that. Tired of doing metal work, tired of welding and grinding. I don't want to do it if possible. So, anyways, popped 4x here. It dented in. It put a little bit of a dent in right here. It left this spot high where the curve is, and this went in. So this is good. Right here though was high. Fix that. Same thing. I put the hammer right on that dent and hit the back of the hammer. Shoved it in. I might have to do a little bit more once I go to Bondo work if it's still high, but from what I've seen, that's how they handle high spots with body hammers. You sand down when you get to a metal spot, you still have lows around you. Pinpoint that area that's high, give it a couple whacks. Let's recess it a little more. Let Bondo fill the gap. You don't want to sand down or grind through the metal if possible. So, or you don't want to thin the metal. So you just want to ding it down and then just Bondo a little bit of dent you put in it. This all still needs to be worked. It's not smooth. I mean, it's just starting layer. You can feel the transition there. Not too bad, but it's there. So the other thing I worked on, these I sandblasted. Now these are like pop metal cast. You can't weld it. I want to dechrome the car. I want to do away with this trim. What I didn't think about is these pieces. I don't know what to do with these holes. I don't know what to do with this piece. I don't know what it'll look like with it just being flat. So with that said, what I'm not sure of is if I want to use leave the chrome and just paint it. I wish I could get some anodized black aluminum pieces to go here. I think these are stainless steel polished. I'm not certain. It might be chrome plated aluminum. I couldn't tell you. Don't remember. They're real thin. I know that. All these little pieces. That's one of the windshields, I think. But I really don't want to put chrome back on this car. I want to keep it all. I really want to go this baby blue color and like a gunmetal gray for the final paint job. And any of the actual metal stuff, I want to be brushed stainless or matte black, like anodized black. I really like the brushed look. My hinges for the hood are brushed aluminum, like plain, not the polished, whatever. The rear hinges are going to be the same thing. Almost everything on the car as far as that's going to be aluminum will be anodized black probably. So I haven't decided what I want to do with this. I will probably end up taking these back off and plugging the back with my finger or something and brushing in some kitty hair stuff to plug these holes and just leaving this flat more than likely. I'm afraid of what that'll look like. I'm gonna try to find some pictures and see if anyone does anything other than use these trim pieces, because I want to do away with all the trim. But these rear pieces I planned on permanently affixing to the car. Now the other shitty part of that is you can't get to these trim pieces. They're secured from the back, and this is the only one you can access. It's got a hole there. The other ones you can't get to. You have to pull them off, put the trim on, bolt it back on. So I at least have to put the clips in place. I could take the trim off, and as long as I have the clips there, but the clips don't hold too well, so I think if I put them on, I'll epoxy them in place or something so they don't fall out, and just pray for the best. But this I wanted to Bondo over and get rid of this seam altogether. Normally you Bondo, sand it all out, and you razor the line and take it back off. Now this one, it's got a little, this side's a little high on that. It's a little low down here. Don't know if there's anything I can really do to fix it, because if I kick this bottom out, this top gets worse. And this up here, well, it's not the best. Which is funny, because this one over here came out freaking almost spot on perfect. I mean, that little lip right there is really all there is, and a little bitty lip right here. But same thing went with this. So this side's good for as far as the end cap. It's fairly close. I mean, the gap's freaking huge, but I don't know what I can do with that, really. This side, the gap's good, and I fixed it some. It was out of ways, but it's pretty close now. I had to put a pretty big gap back here, it seemed like. This is, again, this is a 2 paint stick gap. I had it gapped perfect when I installed it, but the trunk was like recessed back, and these were sticking out. So, got my trunk hinges on. These bolts right here, again, are the same type as the fender bolts. These don't have the big washers like the fender bolts do, so I might end up switching these out for those, just so they get a better catch, because you can see that it's only grabbing on half of it. I don't really care for that. The only good side is these bolts are like, they have the serration or the locking nubs on the back side, so they don't back out. But yes, the trunk just fits good, seals nice. The only other thing I noticed, which I don't know if you can see now that these end pieces are on. So this side here, this corner is a nice, like almost 90 drop. Like it comes back and just straight down. This side like rolls in. I don't know if you can see that. It's like it comes in and it just kind of rounds off and slopes into it. I guess that was my screw up when I installed the quarter panel. So I'll have to make do with that as well. But the same thing, I don't know how I'm gonna handle this. Like this quarter piece, it just kind of slopes outward. The only thing I can think to do is just build this up with Bondo as best as I can and smooth it out. Or fill it or whatever, fiberglass, kitty hair, whatever you want to call it. The passenger will get started on next. I did get these mounted. So I'm assuming these use these little clips as well. I don't remember, but that's what I'm gonna use. I'm gonna have to pull, like I said, the hinges back out and get the hood mounted so I can get that gap over there right. And I'll go ahead and get the door work on this side started. I'm hoping to have this thing on wheels by end of summer, maybe. Still got to weld this sucker up, my paper mache axle housing, and got to come up with $3 grand worth of brakes. But all right, that's it, guys. I just want to touch base with my door work, quarter work, fender work, trunk work, whatever these end caps are called, etc., and just show where I was at on it. I've been out. I put in a pretty good full day today, I guess, out here. So tomorrow will be a rest day, Cinco de Mayo, so have to enjoy a couple of margaritas or something. Take a break from this. But thanks for watching, guys. If anyone has any advice on any of the work I'm doing or how to handle it better, please comment away. I love input. Again, thanks for watching, guys.